able to wait for a while, let me share.
Hello guys, welcome back to today's episode of Education in the Diaspora. If you are new here, my name is Tisha, and this is the platform where people who have studied abroad share their experiences and give us tips on how to apply for schools and scholarships. So join me here today is Mr. Elvis Kofi Agyapong, and he has done so much, like a lot of things for himself, including being the principal technician at KNUST, mentoring students, guiding students, teaching English, and a whole lot. He holds a master's degree in electrical and electronics engineering from Doshisha University in Kyoto, Japan. Also, Bachelor of Science in Engineering Physics from University of Cape Coast in Ghana, and HND in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from Sunyani Technical University. Today, he's here to talk to us or to share with us his experiences studying in Japan. So, Mr. Elvis Kofi Agyapong, welcome to Education in the Diaspora.
Thank you, Tisha, and I'm grateful for inviting me.
Yeah, you're very welcome, and thank you for joining me here also. Yeah, so how is life?
Yeah, life is good, and I've enjoyed life until today. So we thank God.
Can't complain. Yeah, we thank God. Okay, so we know in Ghana, the official language is English, and I can see you had most of your studies already in English. So why did you choose to go to Japan for your master's?
Yeah, I think I chose Japan because of so many factors. And one, I can say the quality of education in Japan is exceptional. And as you all know, Japan has produced 25 Nobel Prize winners. And having heard about these Nobel laureates and the teaching and research transfer of Japanese, I thought to make a decision, I needed to make a decision that would make my research abilities more powerful than to consider language. Though language is a factor, but I think it wasn't a major block for me not to go. And Japan is a well-run country with effective transportation system that is very incredible. And I thought I wouldn't use any language as a blockade, but to go and have my achievements. Yes.
Wow. That's interesting. So did you have your studies in Japanese or in English?
I had my studies in English, but I did some few Japanese, but it wasn't part of the course. It was something like my own.
For conversational purposes.
Yes. And,
okay.
Yeah.
So how did you? I see. So how did you find the school? Was it recommended to you or?
I think I'll say I found my school through my application, and if you would want me to take you through the process before I got the school, I can take you. And
yeah, sure. I think viewers have to know.
Yeah, so I got the school through a scholarship program we call ABE Initiative. And this ABE Initiative is a short form for African Business Education Initiative for the Youth. And it's a scholarship program by the Japanese government. So somewhere in 2016, I was searching through the internet, hoping to get some master's scholarships. And I just bumped into the link and I tried to apply. But it was a year affair, and in the process of my application, choosing a school was the last option. But the processes of my application I can take you through if we have time.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So the first thing, somewhere in 2016, around August, I found this and then I applied. So first, you have to go through 5 stages. And
Okay.
these 5 stages, the first one is the selection, which includes checking documentation and everything. If you qualify, then you move to the next stage, which is the first selection process.
Mm-hmm.
So with the first selection, what we did was we had to write exams. And these exams, we had English, and with English, we wrote TOEFL. And
Okay.
after writing the TOEFL, you need to get the pass mark for the required qualification for you to proceed.
Okay.
Then after this, which is the same still the same first selection process, we had to write some mathematics, which was kind of elective mathematics, as you all know.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
during
ask this. I mean, the exams and the TOEFL, is it requirement with from the school or requirement from the organization offering the scholarship?
it's a requirement from the organization and from the school.
Okay.
So if you don't make the pass mark for the organization, you don't also make the pass mark for the school. So
Okay.
it's like you had the same qualification you had to make before you proceed to the next selection level. So that is the first selection level. So first I've talked about basic screening, which includes your documentation, which is the first, I would say the first step. And the first selection, which will take some people out after the basic selection, is when we write TOEFL and then we write mathematics. Then we
Okay.
move to the second selection stage. With the second selection stage, we have an interview at the JICA office. So we had to go to the JICA office in Ghana. It is in Accra. So after that, after the interview at the JICA office, then another selection is made, whereby you proceed to the next section, or the third selection procedure. So the second selection procedure, people are taken off, and then those who qualify through the process, and you move to the third selection session. But with the second selection, you need to define your proposals. I didn't mention that we had to write a proposal for the first or the basic selection process. So it is that one that will take you to the second selection. So you need to defend what you've written that you want to go and do in Japan.
So what should one have in the proposal?
The proposal, I will advise anyone who is interested in studying abroad or in Japan, is that your proposal should be something that is doable, meaning something that you can hold on to it and say, I'm doing this forever, and I'm doing that. Make it something that will stand the test of time. It shouldn't be any fictitious stuff. It has to be something you can do. And that thing has to have the basics, and then you have to make sure that you can achieve what you've written that you want to do. And I think that is what's to out during the selection process. You don't have to just take anything that you want to do this, and then when it comes to implementation process, you are not able to do. So the selection process will fish these things out. And those who are having a doable or a research that is very tangible to move ahead from the second selection process. Now we go to the third selection process, which is document screening by professors. This time, you've moved from the JICA office or the JICA interview to your professors. Now, the professors, I won't say we didn't choose, but your research will definitely give you a professor whom you don't know. So you end up getting someone you've never met before and coming to interview you. and you don't know how much of deep knowledge he has in your field or your field of study. So this professor will just interview a couple of people, and then the ones that he thinks or she thinks qualify to be mentored by them, they choose them. So that one will also take people out and then take you to the next process if you qualify. And the fourth selection process, which is the last of the selections, is interviewed by the professors and the universities. Now, after the third selection, you'll be given a professor, which you will know after the interview. Because you choose some schools, which you don't know who the professor is, but you end up getting to know the professor during the third selection process. So he also makes a recommendation that he or she needs you. And then you proceed to the fourth selection process, which the professor and the university where the professor is will also interview you as a team. So you need to make sure that after convincing your professor, you also have to make sure you convince the university authorities with the professor as well. And then you proceed to the next stage, which is the final stage. So the fourth selection stage, if you make it, then you have to be that you are on your way to Japan.
Wow.
Yeah, so I would say the fifth part, which is just filling the form to that university, which you get your application sent to you from the organization, and then you apply. So imagine the professor is in this school. You need to apply to the school. And that's what I did. And it has to also go through a process because other people are also applying. So after that, it also moves into a new selection. And when you are offered the admission, then you just thank your stars and move on. So with this application form, it also includes recommendation letters from your workplace, from your academic mentors, and your workplace, your head of department. And for me, it was my head of department and my academic mentor for my BSc, who gave me a recommendation to move on. And then I applied and I made it. So that is it.
Okay. That's the grade that you had.
It took me a year. It took me a year. I started July 2016, and I got to Japan in August 2017. It was a year-long journey.
I think it's safe to say that the Japanese select the best, right? The best among the best, because with all these processes at the end, I'm sure they are going to get the best.
Yes, that is what I think, because having been there, I saw the reason why they chose some of us. So we were blessed to have been selected, because we put in a lot to be selected. It was easy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the grade that someone has during the bachelor's, or does it play a role in the selection process? Do you have to be a first-class student before you get selected?
It's not like that. You have to get a first class to second class lower division.
Okay.
But they don't consider your first class, because first class, anybody can get a first class. But if you get a first class, how do you defend what you want to do? That is why I said, in your research shouldn't be something that is not doable. You need to prove to the authorities or the professor that this thing I'm doing is something I can do and it is doable. And you need to make sure that everything you learn in school, from the basics to whatever you go to, should be applied. So you can be the best first class student, but if your research work is not good to go, you can't make it. So they believe in your ability to achieve what you do.
Okay, so I would want to ask you about the do's and don'ts during the application process. But before that, I would want to encourage our viewers to send in their questions so that my guest here will answer all your questions for you. Okay, so please, can you tell us the do's and don'ts during the application process?
Yeah, so during the application process, what I will tell my colleagues watching is you need to make sure you have a career goal, what you want to do. And that is what will inform your research work. So in my case, I had to make sure that I find something that I can do, and even in the future, if I want to move up, I can continue that thing. So the goal was set already. Now, when you think about your career goal, you want to also make sure that you find a degree that matches the goal you set for yourself. So if you want to be a world-class engineer, a world-class physicist, a world-class mathematician, what degree meets your goal? And the next one is the degree you are getting or going for consistent with your career? If it is not, you need to find why it is not consistent with your career. Yes, and one thing I will advise my colleague students that you have to have a good research plan, because for me, with my experience I had in Japan, if you don't have a good research plan, you are definitely going to fail, and you have a real tough time there. And one thing is also, you need to make sure that the information about your research is very clear and consistent with what you want to do. And try to take your time to also plan what you want to do about your research. And you need to well, and then
Mr. Agyapong, before you continue, okay, we have Daniel Dami asking, I can see Mr. Elvis is talking basically on research. Can't we apply for scholarships to study masters in coursework, as I am more in the professional field?
Okay, yeah, I think you can, but with my kind of, I've seen in US you can apply for scholarship or other masters for only coursework. But with the experience I had in Japan, they are interested in your research work, because you have to write final thesis or dissertation for your after your coursework. So I think it is possible. But
so is it like an MPhil or MSc? Well, with Japan, the MSc is still focused on research work alone.
Yes, I think in Japan, I won't say they have stopped offering MPhil, but I didn't see any MPhil in my school or the schools I knew some of my colleagues were. But I think they might probably have MPhils, but for the MSc, MScs, my colleagues I went with did research work. And for my case, I was even first admitted for a 6-year research student. So I need to make sure that I have a good research for 6 months before I was enrolled for a 2-year master course. So I did my course for a 2.5 year. Yeah. Wow. So that is how it is.
Interesting. So we have Gerald Jabba saying, I went to Japan with Elvis and we returned to Ghana at the same time. Oh.
Hey, yeah, he's my very good friend. Unfortunately, he's been busy and I've been busy when we came to Ghana. So my regards to him. Yeah, we went. He went to a different university, and I also went to a different. But we moved together. We did everything. So what I'm telling you, he also went to the same thing. And we took the same flight, and we came with the same flight. So
wow, yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and another question before we continue. We have Daniel again asking, what are the routes of getting fully funded offers in Ghana? In Japan. I'm sure you've said that already. You've answered that. You've given us
Yeah,
the
but
place.
I can
Yes,
tell
anything
him.
you want to add?
Yeah, I can tell him. I can advise him currently to contact the Japanese embassy. They are currently offering a scholarship program they call MEXT, Ministry of Education and Science and Technology. It's for students who are not more than, I think, 36 years or something to
Oh, okay.
do their masters and masters programs in Japan. So he can contact the embassy, Japanese embassy, or he can go online and type MEXT, MEXT scholarship.
Okay.
You can get more stuff on there.
Okay. Thank you. So, can one apply for, directly to the schools without involving any organizations for the scholarships? Maybe someone wants to fund himself. Is that possible?
Yes, it's possible. It's possible. It's possible. So I think with that one, what they do is they also have some scholarships in the school. So after your admission, you can apply. And one example is there is a scholarship program by ADB, African Development Bank or something. And
Okay.
do it with Japanese government. And I think that one you need to be admitted in a Japanese university before
you can apply for the school. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's an option if you want to be a fee-paying student. There is also an option.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about the cost of living in Japan. If someone is going to be self-funding. But before that, we have another question here. What's the possibility for Anglophone African students who do not have IELTS or TOEFL but obtain English proficiency certificate from first degree institution?
I think some schools accept English proficiency certificates, but not all of them, not all schools. So for my case, as I told you, I wrote TOEFL, but I think some schools, they require English proficiency certificates from your universities. It's possible. So you only need to find out from the internet. I think it's not a border to your studies, I think.
Okay, I'm sure you are well answered, Daniel. Okay, so now what's the cost of living in Japan? If you don't get a scholarship, can you survive?
I think I would say Japan is ranked as having one of the highest average cost of living in the world. And this is due to its geographical location because most stuff are imported. And I would say Japanese are also perfectionists. I won't say all of them. So the quality of, let's say, an electronic product, a phone, a laptop you get there is kind of expensive. But their accommodation is also expensive. And food is okay. But the cost of living, when you want to compare to other countries, very expensive. But if you are a student, you are on a scholarship, or you are working, I think you can make it. It's not a border, but I won't say it's cheap to live in Japan. Cost of living is averagely expensive if you want to compare with other places. And I can give a range of monthly cost of living if you want to be in Japan. Average monthly expenses, including rent, is between 150,000 to 160,000 yen, which is around $1,100 to $1,500 US a month. So
and as a student, will you be able to get a part-time job which could fetch you this amount of money?
Yes. And as a student, you are guaranteed, or you have to go to the immigration service to apply for a working permit, and they give you 28 hours of work every week. And if you are able to get a job, I won't say a good job because they have many jobs, and you can make um, around $200 to $300 every week, which I think you can make. You can even make more. Yes, because per hour hour rating, you can get more than $10 per hour if you are to work. You get more. So depending on where you want to work, you can make more dollars in a week. It depends on where you are working. And as students, you can get a lot of jobs that will get you this money every month, and you'll be good. So you shouldn't worry.
Okay.
As for student jobs, they shouldn't have any challenge. They will definitely get it.
Okay, that's good to know. So now to the education system, how is it different from what we have in Africa, specifically Ghana, since you are Ghanaian?
I think for me, Japanese system as compared to Ghana is far better. But I don't want to say much. But I can say Japan is a country which has a literacy rate of 99%. So imagine compared to Ghana, which is below 70%. So 99%. And their education, because I've been there, it's about the quality of lessons. It's not about the quantity.
Okay.
That was something I found. They are interested in the quality of the lesson they impart to students, but they weren't interested in having more students and being in one small classroom, and you end up not getting anything. And yeah, and I saw that learning facilities were always provided. I didn't get to a point whereby I needed something so bad, and within 2 days, didn't get it. You only have to tell your professor or your school authorities, and they provide for you. So, and research facilities are also up to date. I won't say there are no obsolete laboratory items there, but in my case, research facilities in my laboratory was on point and up to date. So I would say these are the different.
So cool.
And, yeah, and I can also talk about internet and electricity and research support. You get a lot of research support to attend conferences, and I mean, students-teacher ratio is also very encouraging. It's not all that wide, yeah. So that's a big difference, yeah. I would say the positives, yes.
Yeah, the negatives. We will get the cons, but before that, what challenges did you face as an international student in Japan?
I think with my challenge, my first challenge was language, and I didn't know language could be a challenge, but language not as in school, but finding your way out.
Everyday life.
Yeah, most Japanese didn't speak English. Some speak English, but not all. So you end up being in a place whereby most of the people there are not even understanding what you are talking about. And it made life sometimes stressful.
Yeah.
And another challenge I would say is you end up not resting. There is no break. And though there were breaks as in vacation, I never had one. I
Oh,
was always at the lab doing
working.
something. Even on Sundays, I had to be in the lab. So uh, work. Sometimes was getting some of us a bit stressed, but we had to carry on. And a culture of also having been like you are the only odd one out
Mm.
sometimes makes it a little bit difficult. You end up not seeing your fellow Africans in some places. On
Yeah.
campus, we had Africans as colleagues, but sometimes when you move along from campus and in your society or where you live, you end up
Mm-hmm.
being lacking. Sometimes you end up getting eyes looking at you, but it was okay. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's a kind of rewarding, but sometimes it looks a bit kind of weird, but it was okay.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, how did you overcome these challenges?
What happened was I also had Japanese friends, and these Japanese friends had some time ago traveled to the US, the Philippines, and other places whereby English is the only form of instruction. So they know how to speak English, and I I made friends with these, and we sometimes and I also have my friends from Ghana and other African countries, and we used to talk about our experiences. Sometimes we have to laugh over it. And I mean, we couldn't kill ourselves, so we had to find a way how to make ourselves happy, going out and whatever. But it was cool. We had a good time. Yeah.
Wow. So, did you experience any cultural shocks?
Your mic is muted. I don't know whether
Oh, really? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Or shall I?
Hold on, let me try again. Can you hear me now?
Uh, Maybe
Can
let
you?
me put in my earpiece to see if I can hear you well.
Hello, viewers. Can you hear me? If you can, please let me know in the comments.
I can't still hear you.
Okay, let me go out and come in again.
No.
Okay. Okay, is it better? Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's okay now. It's okay now.
Okay. So, I was asking if you experienced some cultural shocks.
A lot of them. A lot of them. A lot of them. So I can take you through a couple of them. And Japan is full of high-tech toilet facilities. I quite
Mm-hmm.
remember the first time I went to, excuse me to say, to the toilet. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how to flush. And I ended up looking around the place. Where can I flush this? Because there is nothing like pressing or
Yeah,
just
you.
turning the tap on, not knowing there was something on the wall, which I just have to just swipe my hand for it to flash. And I was like, wow, very high. It was very one of the culture shocks. And there was also a toilet in my. I'm not saying only toilet, please. I'll come to the rest. There is also a toilet facility in my room, which had to spray you after you've gone.
Oh.
Yeah, and there is also I got to know for the first time when people all over will be wearing masks even before the COVID. And I was like, why will people be wearing masks? Not knowing it was to prevent flu and sometimes the wind. especially during winter time. So I had to also be a mask man even before.
The COVID.
Yes. So for Japan, COVID brought nothing. We were still wearing
You're already
our mask.
wearing your mask. Your
Yes,
mask.
yes.
Wow.
And we also had interesting foods in Japan like sushi, which is fresh fish. And I had to eat fresh fish for the first time in my life, and I was like, why? But I ended up enjoying fresh fish, which was one of my favorite before I left. And punctuality of public transport. If you go to the train station and the train is supposed to arrive at 9:13 a.m., the train will arrive at 9:13 a.m. And let's say it has to leave at 9:14 a.m. It will leave at 9:14 a.m. And I was so shocked. How trains, it wasn't only trains, all the public transport systems, I mean, buses and everything, if it is taking off, it can take off when there is even zero people inside the bus or the train. They don't mind moving without you. You can even be shouting, I'm coming, I'm coming. It will leave you. It will leave you. And it was a shock to me. And it's natural disasters were also common, like earthquake. My first time I experienced an earthquake, it was crazy and it was a shock to me. And it was kind of a shock to me because I didn't know the earth could move like that. But it was, and there is also a kind of restaurant custom or restaurant culture in Japan. There are some restaurants you go and then you cook your own food.
Wow.
There are restaurants you enter and you have to take off your shoes. I mean, they have this culture, and sometimes you end up asking yourself why. Because I'm coming to eat. Why all the other rules and regulations? But we enjoyed it, and we also had to make do with chopsticks. Up till now, I don't know how to use chopsticks, though I was there for a couple of years. But to use chopsticks,
it was hard.
A spoon.
You use your spoon.
Yes, yes. And I also got to find out that in Japan, when people are driving, hardly will you hear people beeping their horns. You don't hear people beeping their horns. Like, ping, ping, ping. No, I don't know whether I saw one somewhere, but it's a place. Yeah, if somebody will just beep a horn, then it means something just happened or something. But they drive without beeping, and it was strange. It's not like whereby you hear
too much noise. Wow, interesting. Okay, we have Doreen Donko saying, "Wow, I see. It's a nice place to be educated. Good vibes."
Thanks, Doreen.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. Yeah. So now to the cons, because we've heard so many. You've told us so many positive stuff. Now we want to know the cons.
Yeah. One thing is Japan has extremely high cost of living, and there are things you get here for here in Japan you so you need to. And for me, I think the cost is good for its the product quality. So I would say it's kind of okay, but the cost of living was kind of high, which especially the cost of rent was so high that sometimes when you compare to what you are paying in Ghana, you'll be like, wow. But the funny thing is, rent was paid monthly, so you didn't have any problem. But if, let's say, you calculate the amount of rent you paid in some months, and you'll be like, wow,
that's
yeah. And for me, I think the work and research life balance is a problem because you are always working in the lab and having only a few, time to rest and all kind of stuff. And I think the working and the research time was way, much more than the time we got to rest, which I think wasn't good because the work-centric attitude is too much. So
Yeah.
if in the future they can just relieve people of these. And one thing was also feeling different every time when you are around people, especially on the train. You end
Yeah.
up feeling so bad. Yeah, people will be watching you. Sometimes you make needless friends, but you can't. You move out and people want to be friends with you. They want to even touch your body to see
You see?
whether you are also a human being with this color or what. But it was kind of, and the other one was language barrier. Sometimes, though we knew some basic, but when it got to a place you need to be conversational, it was a challenge. But
Yeah.
you know, I would say, yeah, it was okay. Though we had some cons, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So, Mr.
Yeah.
Japan, what do you wish you knew before traveling to Japan?
I think I would say I wish I knew how to speak Japanese fluently because it could have opened a lot of opportunities for me. And it's a society when they find that you are not part of them, but you speak their language, they love you to bits. They love you to bits to the point that they will die for you. But when you don't speak their language, sometimes
It
they
becomes,
kind of see you differently, and people don't want to even associate themselves with you, which I thought was not right. Yeah.
okay, great. So, with all these pros, cons, challenges, how has your life been affected? How has all these experiences affected your way of life?
I think for me, I'll say it has given me the opportunity to live, work, and explore different culture because having been in Japan, I got to meet a whole lot of people from other countries. And I can say, if not, I don't want to say I'm bragging, but I met a lot of people from Asia, Europe, whatever. I had mates who came from all these continents, Europe, South America, North America, and I've made friends with this, and it's giving me the opportunity to know how people think. Yeah, from other backgrounds, how they think and reason. So I think it has given me the opportunity, and it has also helped me to develop myself as a person.
Yeah.
And I'm now much more independent, and I take responsibility for whatever I do.
That's great.
Before going to Japan, I will blame somebody for what is not happening well in my life. But I think having been there, I've seen that I have to take my own life into my hands. Okay. And if I something that would be at my disadvantage, it has to be at my own cost. I shouldn't blame anybody. So I do my things very well. I make sure I follow the process and whatever I have to do. And I've also seen that it has helped me to see different perspectives, or it has made me to see how many people bring their minds on board to make a thing. And I mean, I have grown to love all manner of differences or different people, how they reason and how they think. And I think I can live anywhere in my life. And the last thing I will say is it also built my network. I now
Yeah.
have friends all over the world. I take a phone and call this one. I can, let's say, if there is a news about a certain country and the news, I mean, it's so wonderful to believe or it's so strange to believe. I just need to just take a phone and call. My friend, is this true? And the person will say, oh, maybe it's true or not. Make me know the other side of life. So I think it's been good. It's been good. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure time also. I'm sure now you are maybe more punctual, right? Because you mentioned that
Okay.
the train comes. I mean, if it's supposed to come at, it's always punctual. It's supposed to come at 10. It's there at 10. So I'm sure
Yeah.
that, yeah, I'm sure it has, because I know in Ghana we say GMT is Ghana man time. So I'm sure
Yes.
that aspect also has been influenced positively, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Okay.
don't go anywhere being late. That one,
Mm,
as you said, you need to be there at least 15 minutes before time. And
four.
that is still in me. And you dare not have a meeting with me and come late. No.
Late.
You need
Mm-hmm. Wow. Mr. Japon, I have really enjoyed myself listening to your beautiful experiences, your challenges, and all that. So, what would be your final words to our viewers? I mean, there are some students watching who would like to study in Japan. What would you tell them?
Yeah, I think the first thing I will want to tell my students or fellow students is make sure you learn the language of the country you wish to study, because that will also give you a lot of moving ahead forum for you, where you
Yeah.
can get many other opportunities and also enjoy what you are doing. It's best to enjoy whatever you are doing, only when it is good. And also, you have to have a certain confidence in yourself that human beings are bound to fail. So when you are
Mhm.
doing something you fail once, please pursue, and at the end of the day, success will come at the end of the tunnel. So don't give up. And also, you need to make network with people you meet so that they can help you to jump the ladder when you want to move up. And the last thing is don't give up. Don't give up. Just keep pursuing what you do best. And there is always a laugh at the end of the tunnel. That would
Wow.
be my, yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Japon, for sharing all these nuggets with us. And thank you, viewers, for watching and staying tuned through to the end of the program. We have another episode this Saturday. We'll be talking about a blended learning. So please do join in with your questions. And bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.